Straight ahead on CCX News, the Northwest suburbs getting older, how local cities are bracing for a so-called silver tsunami. Plus,
it was a reminder to all of the debt that we owe our veterans.
A special local tribute to veterans. And later, celebrating a first at Champlin Park High School. CCX News starts right now.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. We begin with a developing story in Plymouth, where police are investigating a shooting death. The incident happened Sunday night inside a home in the 3100 block of Walnut Grove Lane. Police were told a 42-year-old man had been shot inside the residence. When officers arrived, they were greeted at the front door by a male suspect who was then taken into custody. The victim was taken by ambulance to North Memorial Health Hospital, where he later died. His identity has not been released, but an anonymous neighbor told the Star Tribune that his name is Aaron Johnson. The neighbor says police have been called to the house more than 30 times in recent years. The Star Tribune also reports the suspect is a defense attorney from Albuquerque, New Mexico. The newspaper quotes the suspect's former wife, who says the man was in town to receive substance addiction treatment. The investigation is ongoing, and police have not revealed a possible motive for the shooting. Brooklyn Park fire officials are trying to determine what caused a house fire early Sunday morning. Crews were called to the scene around 4:30 to a home in the 3400 block of 77th Avenue North. 3 adults were able to make it out of the home without suffering any injuries. Several agencies responded to the fire, which took about 3 hours to put out. The fire chief says the house appears to be a total loss. The Red Cross is assisting 2 families. There's significant demographic shift in Minnesota. The 65-plus population is rapidly growing, and many cities are launching initiatives to adjust to the change. Reporter Sonia Goins has more on a series called The Senior Tsunami. Sonia?
Hey Shannon, the city of Plymouth recently hired a consulting firm to do a comprehensive rental housing study. Officials want to project rental housing demand through the year 2030. The findings show a huge demand for senior housing. And because of the population of baby boomers in Plymouth will be aging over the next few decades, about 56 of the total housing demand will be for age-restrictive types of housing.
It's projected that we will need almost 2,000 units. Of all different types of senior housing. That could be active ownership type housing, multifamily, congregate, or all the way up to memory care.
The study also found the largest population group in the city of Plymouth will be folks 65 to 74 years old. They also found the median income for seniors in that age category is around $84,000, while the income for people ages 75 and up is about $45,000. The Plymouth Housing and Redevelopment Authority owns 2 senior living buildings, Plymouth Town Square and Vicksburg Crossing. Both are for low to moderate income. Residents pay a percentage of their income toward rent, and the rest is made up by taxpayers. Officials say the city-run facilities are a great option for folks who don't want home maintenance and still want to call Plymouth home.
This building probably has a wait list of about 50 to 75 names, and our other building is probably 75 to 100. Now keep in mind, while that seems like it's a large number, not everybody's ready to move when we have an opening.
Now, the Plymouth Housing and Redevelopment Authority also offers emergency repair grants for seniors. The grants help income-qualified seniors keep their homes in good repair and make accessibility upgrades. Now, Shannon, tomorrow we'll show you what the city of Maple Grove is doing to become more age-friendly.
All right, thank you, Sonia. One sign of a long winter ahead has appeared in Plymouth. The Fieldhouse Dome at the Plymouth Creek Center is up and running. It won't come down until the thermometer rises again next March. The dome features a large central artificial turf field, from everything from sports practices to this toddler play area. There's also a teen open play session 3 days a week. And there's a jogging track that's free for residents and non-residents alike. Just over 5 laps around the dome is a mile.
It's a great place to come in the winter time and hang out. It's a good, safe place.
The Sports Dome at Maple Grove High School is also up, ready to give residents of that city a warm place to play while the winter winds blow. Plymouth will soon start talking about what changes might be in store for the Plymouth Creek Center. And at the top of the list, new or improved walking areas and a gym. Back in February, the city started conducting surveys on what residents would want to improve at the Plymouth Creek Center. 58% of residents would like an addition or substantial renovation to the center. There's also high support for an indoor playground, classroom space, an art studio, and senior space. Full results will be presented to the City Council on Tuesday night. Veterans Day is a time to honor those who serve, but you might not realize November 11th also marked the official end of World War I. So before we observe Veterans Day, we celebrated Armistice Day. Reporter Meredith Hackler takes us to a special ceremony in Robbinsdale that marks the centennial of Armistice Day.
As the honor guard takes steps together,
left, right,
and flyovers are commenced, onlookers are taken back in time.
I think the serenity of this drive really fits with the solitude that took place when the guns went silent on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. So it captures that moment, which was a special moment in history.
On this Veterans Day in Robbinsdale, people remembered the end of World War I, which ended 100 years ago on November 11th. But the Great War is memorialized every day on Victory Memorial Parkway.
And Robbinsdale is especially proud to have this wonderful memorial located within our city boundaries. And many of us use it on a regular basis to reflect and teach and honor the 568 that were lost in Hennepin County.
Victory Memorial Drive is one of a kind, just like all of the 568 service members who were honored by the memorial itself.
I want people to understand that these were individuals. It's too easy to say 568, and really that 568 is part of 116,000 who died during the war that were Americans.
While history is often forgotten, Victory Memorial Parkway is a reminder of the sacrifice men and women of the military have made.
We need to remember the sacrifice of these individuals.
A sacrifice average citizens often lose sight of. In Robbinsdale, Meredith Hackler, CCX News.
Still ahead, advice for business owners. Will run down the top 10 tips to help your business. Plus, the Champlin Park volleyball team plays a thriller in the state championship match. But first, a couple more days of chilly temperatures, and then we will climb back into the 40s. Welcome back. Every business has ups and downs, and when there are downs, the host of this week's Best Practices Conference has some advice. This week in Business Matters, Corey Bork shares the top 10 best practices for business owners.
Business expert Bill English of Maple Grove has some advice for business owners, including a tip from, yes, Star Wars. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, he wants us to focus on who you hire, which leads us to tip number 1. Hire character, train skill.
I can take a person who has great character and teach them what to do. But if they have bad character, no matter how talented they are, they will not be a good employee for you.
Tip number 2, have your trusted advisors speak truth. You don't want to be surrounded by yes people.
If they'll just listen to maybe some negative feedback from time to time and hear the truth about either themselves or what's going on in their business.
Speaking of the negative, tip number 3, embrace it.
You got to run towards the fire, run toward the bullets. As soon as you see that there's a conflict brewing, you run into it and you try to solve it as fast as you can.
Tip number 4, it's about the cash. Know your break-even point.
You can go out of business being profitable on an accrual basis, but it's really tough to go out of business if you're always building cash.
Tip number 5, crazy smart people actually.
I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that?
Can make lousy business partners.
Really talented people oftentimes don't have the people skills necessary to do the governance and the ownership part of a business.
On to tip number 6, there's a difference between tenaciously committed and foolishly stubborn.
You'll hear all kinds of success stories about business owners who just stayed the course, and they were just stubborn enough, and eventually they succeeded, and then we kind of hold them up and we all applaud that, boy, what great people they are. But the reality is that for every successful story you have, you probably have 100 failures.
Tip number 7, mistakes are okay, learn from them, just don't rationalize them.
Every turnaround that I've ever been a part of, the ownership group has been making mistakes and they rationalized them away.
Tip number 8, we borrow a phrase from Steve Jobs. Hire smart people to tell you what to do.
In order to scale a business into the hundreds or maybe even thousands of employees, you have to surround yourself with people who are crazy talented at what they do, and you have to let them go do what they do.
Now to Star Wars and a line from Princess Leia.
Money is all that you love, and that's what you'll receive.
Success in business is never enough.
Profits come, profits go. You'll find that once you have a bunch of money, you're still an empty person if you don't have something bigger and greater than yourself to which your life is tethered.
And tip number 10, take time to unplug.
No one will lay on their deathbed saying, I wish I had spent more time at the office.
For Business Matters, Corey Bork, CCX News.
Lots of good tips there. The Best Practices Conference, hosted by Bill English, is Wednesday in Minneapolis at the law firm of Frederickson and Byron. It features a variety of speakers that offer insights on transforming your business. You must pre-register to attend, and for more information, visit bestpracticesconference.com or go to our website, ccxmedia.org. Still ahead, how students at a Maple Grove Elementary School honored veterans. But first, local swimmers and divers compete at section meets with spots at state on the line. John Jacobson has the highlights. He's in next.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. For the second time in 3 seasons, the Champlin Park volleyball team met Egan for the Class 3A title. The Wildcats won that one back in 2016, and they were in the state final for a 6th straight year. A good start for the Rebels in this one. Lauren Clark with an ace serve as Champlin Park races out to a 7-1 lead in the first set. And then Ling Wong gets blocked by Izzy Ashburn on set point. Champlin Park wins 25-18. After trailing early in the second set, Emma Schmidt with one of her 20 kills there ties the score at 12. Champlin Park puts together a 10-1 scoring run in the middle of the set. Hannah Praske with a kill. Rebels win again 25-18. But Egan does not get rattled. After winning the third set, the Wildcats all-stater Kennedy Orr delivers some big points in the fourth. The Wildcats win 25-22, pushing this match to a 5th set. In set 5, Sammy Hilly with a big block early on Ellie Huseman puts Champlin Park ahead 6-2. Later, it's Clark delivering a huge block on Orr's attack, and Champlin Park leads 13-11. Then Orr at 14-12 serves the ball into the net. And that is match point, and the celebration is on for the Rebels as they win in 5 sets to capture their first state title. A big win not only for the program, but for Champlin Park as a whole.
I know we had some individual sports and individual athletes win state stuff. It's the first team banner for the school in 27 years. So it's not just a big deal for these girls and the volleyball program, but it was a pretty big deal for the school.
We've been to state multiple times, so like being able to accomplish our goal finally, it just feels amazing. And it was like a lot of pressure going into it because we wanted to be able to do that for our school.
As Izzy has said multiple times in the past, that we're very competitive, which has made all of us better. And it's super fun because they push me to become a better person and a player. And yeah, it's super cool. I love playing with them. I'm going to miss them.
Congratulations to them. Well, trips to state were on the line for local girls swimmers and divers at section meets over the weekend. Armstrong was one of several local teams competing in section 5AA. In the 200 individual medley, it's Wayzata finishing 1-2. Jordan McGinty wins. Melinda Zhang places second. Armstrong's Grace Wolschlager and Molly Zook and Allison Hall of Hopkins also make state from that race. 50 free, it's Ellen Hofstead of Hopkins touching home first in 24.16 seconds. Champlin Park's Heather Johnson in the silver cap finishes second and also makes state. 100-yard butterfly, a great race for Hopkins' Molly Meeland. She wins in 54.61 seconds. Wayzata Zhang and Claire Reinke also qualify for state, along with Armstrong's Wolschlager and Amber Kronquist of Osseo. But it's Meeland setting a new section and pool record with her time. In the 100 freestyle race, Sierra Smith of Armstrong outtouches McGinty by 1/100th of a second to win. Hofstede and Jenna Marquette of Wayzata also make state in this event. Smith also sets a new pool record. 51.10 is her time. 500 freestyle rather. Zoe Bresnahan of Armstrong places first, her time 5:01. Armstrong Zook, along with Antoni Haupt and Madison Rundell of Wayzata, also make state in the 500. And in the 100 breaststroke, it's Jenna Marquette of Wayzata taking first in 1 minute 4.62 seconds. Hall of Hopkins comes in second. Here are the final team scores. Wayzata rolls to the team championship with 598 points, well ahead of runner-up Hopkins. Armstrong is third, followed by Champlin Park. Osseo is seventh, and Park Center places eighth. The Maple Grove girls swimmers had a solid season. They aimed for a section title and a goal to get a good number of athletes through to state. Elk River the site for the Section 8AA meet. In the 200 freestyle in the yellow cap, St. Michael Albertville's Ashton Hobbsa races to the win. Abby Cornelius of Maple Grove is second to advance to state. Caitlin Arseth of the Crimson is fourth. 200 IM, STMA's Kelsey Koken wins in a time of 2:10.47. Freshman Lily Trebika of Maple Grove qualifies for state with a second place finish. In the 50 free, Maple Grove's Madeline Bass just holds off Buffalo's Tiana Kozik to win by 2/100ths of a second. To diving, and here's the section champion, St. Cloud Tech's Meredith Machinsky scores 399 total, and she takes the title. Maple Grove gets a state qualifier in diving as well. Morgan Bosacker places fourth, total score of 347.55 to advance. Back to swimming, Maple Grove dominates in the 500 freestyle. Cornelius rolls to the win in a time of 5:15.61. Her teammate Caitlin Arseth also advances by placing second, 9 seconds back. Maple Grove takes 4 of the top 5 spots in that race. Here are the team scores. Maple Grove well ahead of the competition with 450 points. Buffalo is second, followed by St. Michael Albertville and Brainerd. Rogers places sixth. In Section 2A, Breck takes the top spot, winning 8 of the 12 events. Benilde St. Margaret's is second and Blake third. Fridley and Tuchino Grace have a combined program. They finish fifth. Cooper is eighth. The state meet is this week at the University of Minnesota Aquatic Center. And that is all for sports. We're back with more in a moment.
And finally, the post office and other government buildings were shut down Monday in observance of Veterans Day. At Fernbrook Elementary School in Maple Grove, they saluted veterans and active duty soldiers alike. More than 75 vets showed up, including a guest speaker, a colonel who has children attending Fernbrook Elementary. The students sang patriotic songs as a way to honor those who have served.
What I hope we get out of it for the kids is that regardless of political affiliation, religious beliefs, so on and so forth, our military sign up to serve and protect and defend, and that they understand the core beliefs of honor and faith and so on and so forth that are espoused by our military veterans.
The school gave each veteran who attended a certificate honoring their service. So happy Veterans Day to all. We'll be back tomorrow. See you then.